Well, hey there, everybody. It's the two guys. I'm Kevin.
I'm Bill.
Notice how we had that down just pat. Hey, today we've got a really fun and I think will be highly controversial show. It's not about Bill's shirt.
Hey, you know what? I was just feeling, Jimmy Buffett was supposed to be in town last week in concert. Couldn't do it because of the virus thing. It's a gorgeous day out here in central North Carolina. And I was just feeling, you know what? It's time to break out the floral printed shirt.
I don't know if you remember this, but this because Bill and I go back many years. And we've shared on other broadcasts about how I think what really solidified our friendship was 24, the short show.
TV show 24, yeah.
But I think it's when you came over. So Bill used to be the morning guy in Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, probably still. Are you in the Radio Hall of Fame? I know I've asked you this before. Okay, you need to be. I'm just saying that right now. So he did mornings for years at WRAL-FM. And so then I was at a Fox station here in Raleigh, and we started working together. So, Bill, I don't know if you remember this, but you came over to shoot a promo, and I had a Hawaiian shirt on, tucked in, and you shirt shamed me. You were a guy, no, to untuck that. You don't ever tuck in a Hawaiian shirt. Do you remember that?
I think Magnum used to tuck his in.
Well,
so Magnum, if Tom Selleck could get away with it, you certainly could. It's funny you should mention that because I was just mentioning to my wife the other day about, I've got pictures from back in the day when I had like Hawaiian shirts tucked in. What was I thinking?
What the heck? Well, listen, we are coming live at you on Facebook and YouTube as we do every Tuesday. And today we're going to be talking about the most overrated movies of all time, and we're going to stick by that. So let's kick this thing off. I love the little spastic guy in black and white jumping. I bet you he tucked in his shirts. I'm just saying. So this is Two Guys Talking About with Kevin.
And Bill.
And today, and maybe today only, we are talking about what we feel are the most overrated movies like ever of all time. And we're going to share our list, but we would love to hear from you. So tell us in the comments what you think about what we're saying are ours, and if you would like to get in on it. So Nate is saying, "Oh Billy." I heard he had one of the best interns ever.
I did. His name was Zach. That's Nate. That was Nate. Nate just commented, but I couldn't get his name straight when we first came, and I kept calling him Zach. So here, 35 years later, I still call him Zach.
So Nate probably now is like, my name's Nate, but people call me Zach.
Maybe.
So we're gonna dive into what we think. Now, I do want to preface this though with this. So the American Film Institute. I don't know when they did this, but they posted this 100 years, 100 movies. In fact, they even say the 100 greatest movies of all time. Now, you can see some of them there. Citizen Kane, Casablanca, The Godfather, Gone with the Wind. This isn't the full list. Okay. But today, we're not we're not talking about the greatest movies. We're talking about what we think are the most overrated movies ever. So let us know in the comments what you think. If you agree, disagree, you think Bill's crazy. I'm just throwing that out there. So, Bill,
fine.
We're going to, oh, look, we've already got one. First one in the category, The English.
Patient.
Oh.
Probably The English Patient. Yeah.
She says P.
You're correct. You're correct, Mame.
The English. Now, wait a minute. Okay. See, this is why I'm really I've been looking forward to this show because, where's Banner? Where am I going? I actually liked it. I didn't say I wouldn't put it on my all-time greatest list, but all right, Bill, here we go.
All right. So, by the way, our opinions really matter. So, regardless of what you think of these movies, when we say they are, highly overrated, they truly are. And I'm going to start with number 5. I'll work up to my number 1.
Right.
And number 5 really broke my heart because I wanted to see it so badly. I'm such a fan of the franchise that when I went to see it, it's like, man, there's some really great nods to the previous ones, but that doesn't hold, that makes the story make no sense. They made the homage to previous movies seemingly the priority and not the plot. And that is the Daniel Craig James Bond movie, Spectre.
Or some people say Spectre.
Spectre. I wanted to love it.
So I remember you being on air, and I went to see the sneak preview of Skyfall, and you had me on, and you said, "All right, give me your early review," and I said, "I'm glad I didn't pay for it," and you were shocked, you were taken back. But in watching it again later, I actually really liked it.
I
liked Spectre. I can't put it up there as the greatest. It did get a little muddling, but I liked it.
Well, if you've been a fan of the thing since 1962, 63 of the franchise, there's so many little things in there that you can pick up that are little nods to movies along the way. But I think the plot and all that did suffer because they were trying to shoehorn all this stuff in and make it fit. So that was a great disappointment to me. So overrated, in my opinion, with all the kudos. But that's I guess to each his own. But number 5 on my list, overrated, is Spectre.
Next
number 4. Now, this is a movie based on a novel, a very successful novel. In fact, I've got a buddy of mine. We are the same age. He has read all of the books, has reread all of the books, and absolutely loves it. But I thought the movie The Hunger Games, 2012, with Jennifer Lawrence, and I love Jennifer Lawrence, but man, So maybe there was something about that whole theme of kids killing kids. I don't know. That was just.
I'm not touching that. So
that was weird to me.
So I think we established in maybe season 1 that I'm not a big reader. I've tried to do better. I've actually read
comics,
a few books, but I'm a believer in, for me, I am not going to watch the movie and read the book. Some exceptions years ago were Stephen King, but I never read any of the Hunger Games. I really liked the franchise.
No, that's cool. I mean, I read the book. It did not really grab me. And then the movie, I like the actors in the movie. I just didn't care for the movie. And I can't tell you why.
So Nick is saying, going back to Spectre, I like Spectre, but it's definitely not one of the best Daniel Craig films. I would agree with that.
No, it's the next to last in ranking. Quantum of Solace has got to be the worst Daniel Craig and one of the all-time worst Bond movies because there was absolutely nothing to it. It was just action scene after action. I can't even remember much about that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hunger Games. You got anything else to say about that? Again, it's just for me. I was just like, I wanted to like it, and everybody when I was working, especially all the young ladies they thought it was fantastic, and I just couldn't do it.
I liked it. I just did. All right, so let's keep going. Your next one.
Number three. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good musical.
Who doesn't?
I love a good musical. If Singing in the Rain is on TV, I am on it. But this thing that came out in 2016 with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, La La Land, and I heard all the raves and the Oscars and all that stuff, and my wife and I went to see it, and it's like, wow, we won't get that time back. It was painful to me.
We rented that. We don't get to the theater like we used to, but we rented that. And I got to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised how much I liked it.
I'm just surprised that you liked it.
I just did. So now, okay. Here we go. So we got one. Nick is coming back in saying that Casino Royale was Craig's best. You know, I gotta say, Nick, that I would put Casino Royale on my all-time best list. If I was just building this massive list, it is definitely one of them. Definitely one of them.
We disagree on that one because I think Skyfall is the best Daniel Craig one.
Now, Nate or Zach, Knives Out, underrated Daniel Craig movie. So you know what's interesting? We just rented that not too long ago, and I just thought it was okay. And I think the problem with some of these is that they get so hyped up over a time that when it's over, it's like, I mean, when you finally get to see it, rather, it's like, yeah.
Well, you know, that is a challenge of mine that we've talked about this before we went on, is if I hear a lot of, oh, you've got to see it. And the current phrase, I've got some friends now, anything is the best blank ever. It is the best show ever. It is the best restaurant ever. So when I hear things about it's the best movie ever, I'm almost by default not going to like it. Just whether I have a rebellious nature, I don't know. But if everybody is loving it, I tend to not love it. If it's oversold to me, I tend to not like it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's
I'm going to go to number 2.
I want you to go to number 2. Yes.
Inception. Leo DiCaprio, 2010. It was a movie about dreams and getting into people's dreams. And I think if you got behind in that movie, and I admittedly did, there was no catching up. Because at some point I remember going, I have no clue what's happening. And in relatively short time, I didn't care what was happening. And it got great reviews. It's supposed to be this sci-fi classic, and Christopher Nolan's, his classic movie. I just didn't get Inception.
So, so here's the thing. So Bill and I didn't talk these out. And I still love Bill. I
beat it in my head.
I loved Inception. Now I will say this. I am a huge Christopher Nolan fan. In fact, he's got whatever his new movie's coming out. Forgot the name of it. I think it stars Daniel Glover. I can't think of the name. If somebody remembers it, drop it in there. But it's brand. Of course, everything's been delayed, right? Batman trilogy, Interstellar. But I thought Inception was just brilliant. And it's one of those where I watched it and I had to step back and kind of really process it because it was just so involved. But then after I watched it a second time, I'm like, oh, it is so good. Dunkirk. That was another one he did. That was phenomenal.
I like Dunkirk a lot. And some movies, quite honestly, on the first viewing, and it could be mood, it could be if I was tired. There have been movies that I saw the first time and went, and then I saw them again on video or on TV, and it's like, wow, I totally missed the point of that movie. Now I love it. True Lies is a case in point. I saw it at the theater and thought, what a stupid movie. And now if it's on, I realize it's supposed to be a stupid movie, and I go with the flow and I love it.
I loved Inception. I loved Inception. All right, and then you got one more.
Yeah, I think for me, and this was back when I was at work, and it was another one of those ones that everybody just raved about and how funny and hysterical it was. And in fact, it still remains to this day the 4th highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And that is Bradley Cooper's The Hangover.
Never saw it.
From 2009. And it was just, I'm sure I laughed at a few places, but thinking it's the funniest movie ever. It just wasn't for me. Maybe I need to give it another shot. I don't know. But it was disappointing. I'm a real Bradley Cooper fan. But that movie just did it absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah, I never saw it and never really had a desire to. Mame's agreeing with it. She said it was horrible.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's a clue for you too. When I tell you that I thought Mike Tyson was the funniest guy in the movie, the scene with Mike Tyson is hysterical.
Okay, so Nick is throwing this one out. He's saying True Lies. Now, but he's saying Rules. So I'm thinking that he likes that. And Nate is throwing in there that there's some great one-liners in The Hangover.
I guess he means in The Hangover. There may be, but I don't remember them.
All right, so those are Bill's.
Those are my top 5. I want to hear yours, and then I've got a couple of blanket overrated.
Here's my 5 in no particular order.
Okay.
Ready? Here we go. Yep. Titanic.
Another Leo DiCaprio movie.
I hated that movie. Okay, first of all, I heard a comedian years ago say, he's doing a stand-up routine and he starts talking about it, and and then the ship sinking, and this little lady comes up after and she goes, "Great, now you've ruined the movie for me." It's like, ma'am, it is history. Okay, so the fact that we've got this drama going on about a ship sinking, an ocean liner, well, let's have a gunfight in the middle of it. Now let's just do a lot. And I thought, I did like the fact that James Cameron built a ship to shoot it on, but oh my word, I just could not stand it at all. There we go. Mame. Yep. Nick.
Heard it.
Never ever connected with it. By the way, how are you connecting with our list? Drop a comment in and let us know if you agree or disagree, or which movies that you don't care for. But yeah, Titanic, didn't like that at all. All right, here's another one. Avatar. And yet, now there's a theme park built around it at Disney.
All right, you're throwing me on the spelling. You're either talking about The Aviator, which is another Leo DiCaprio movie.
Okay, no,
Avatar, that's not even close to being spelled correctly. You may have seen the wrong movie. Maybe you saw a movie called Aviator.
So basically, the spelling bee won't be on my list. No, I meant to say Avatar, the James Cameron. Oh, wait a minute. I see a theme, even though I did like The Terminator and I liked Aliens. Avatar was absolutely just horrible. Horrible. And here was the thing I got. He was like, well, I've been working on this story for like 10 plus years. And it's like, it's basically the American Indians being driven off by the people that came in and took their land. I don't think it was an original story, except you just put it into a video game type thing. Ugh, absolutely hated it. Avatar, not the other ones. All right, here's one, and I'm sticking by this one.
Okay.
Frozen. The only thing that I remember from that is Let It Go. And man, I have tried to let this go out of my brain so much. Frozen.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of supposed to be overrated by you, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it is mainly a kid's movie, isn't it?
Well, it's a kid's movie, but I've also seen some adults out there just rave about it and love it. And I just, now we watched it way after it had been released. And I just kept hearing about how amazing this was, and it's Disney's finest, and blah, blah, blah. So I thought, okay, fine. I was just bored with it. Totally bored with it. No. All right, here's another one. I'm interested to see what Bill says on this one and what you guys think. Goodfellas.
I finally saw it in its entirety last year. I liked it. I thought it long.
You did like it.
I liked it, but if I'm going to see a mob movie, I'm going to go with The Godfather.
Godfather is good. Now, did you like Godfather 2 and 3?
I don't remember really much of anything of Godfather 3, and I've got to watch Godfather 2 again. I did like Godfather 2, but I'm not as familiar with it as I, quote, should be. Then again, I'm not as familiar with The Godfather as I should be. The Godfather has always been one of those movies that it's kind of on and I'm going through the room and I always come in on the scene in the restaurant where Michael takes the gun out of the bathroom and kills the cop. You know, it's always on that scene when I come through the room. But so just to sit and watch and focus on The Godfather, I haven't done it in a long time, but I need to do that with the original and number 2. Number 3, I don't remember much about it. I don't hear people talking about it too much.
Yeah, I was double checking too that AFI considered Godfather number 3, and I think I saw in another poll like number 1. Goodfellas to me, I'm not a big. There's been very few gangster films I like. I did like American Gangster, which had Denzel Washington and Gladiator guy.
Didn't see it.
I thought that was good. Loved Untouchables, even though you could argue is that it real, but I didn't care. And I guess I'm back and forth on Scorsese. I didn't care for Goodfellas at all. And I can't. And one of the things I had a major problem with was something that happened near the end. And I don't want to say what it is, because if you ever watch it, it'll give it away. But it's like, what the heck? Ugh, hated it. All right. And here's my last one. You ready?
Yeah.
Anything with Will Ferrell.
You know what? I almost made that as one of my blanket ones. He gets all this, you know, it's like Elf. I can quote some stuff from Elf. I've seen it once. So I thought he was funny on Saturday Night Live with when he's doing the Alex Trebek thing and when he's doing the cheerleader thing that he does on Saturday Night Live puts me in the floor. Typically, what's that racing movie that he was in?
Talladega Nights.
Yeah. The funny parts in that movie to me were the parts that he didn't do. There wasn't stuff he did that I found funny. The prayer was kind of funny. The little baby Jesus and all that. That was okay. But it was the other stuff that I found funny in that movie. But yeah, I just don't find Will, I guess for whatever, it's just not my taste in comedy.
Well, here's the thing is that I think he's very funny. He makes me laugh when he's on skits and when he's just doing his random stuff. But I've never seen a more cowbell. I've never seen a movie of his that I've ever enjoyed or thought was funny. And so anyway, but you said you had a couple of bonus.
Yeah, well, kind of like what you said, anything with Will Ferrell in it. For me, it's any James Bond movie starring Roger Moore, with the exception possibly of For Your Eyes Only. And this is going to be blasphemy. Outside of Psycho and The Birds, the Hitchcock movies just don't do it for me. Last year we said it and we brought them all up, you know, Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, and I'm going, what is all the hubbub about?
Now, I will say, I do like some of The Birds is a classic. Psycho is a classic. North by Northwest, I really loved.
I love spy movies. You would think I would have loved that movie, and I just could not.
Yeah, I really did love some of those, but you know, I don't know. And then what was the one you mentioned right before that? You said.
Well, I mentioned the Bond movies starring Roger Moore.
So I agree.
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, Sean Connery, I think absolutely the best. I do like Daniel Craig's a lot.
Yes,
but Nate's saying, what about the star power of Cannonball Run? Nate, you got something there. Especially with Burt Reynolds and those guys. But
you mentioned a movie off of AFI, the best movies, Citizen Kane. I watched it. I loved the acting. I loved Orson Welles. But when it was over, again, Marianne and I looked at each other and went, best movie of all time?
The Man with the Golden Gun. The Man with the Golden Gun was my first ever PG movie. I'd been after my parents to finally go, and they send me to a James Bond movie. Double win.
Horrible.
Ugh,
Horrible.
double win. And, and Nick's like,
also,
he never
Gone
liked.
with the Wind.
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind also.
Oh, really?
Made 1939. I saw it when I was a kid. I thought the theme song just played over and over again. I thought it would never end.
Well, so that's our list of what we think are the most overrated movies of all time. What do you think? Keep the conversation going. Just drop a comment in there, and you can fight us on some of ours too. I mean, the thing is too. I mean, I think it's like two people can look at the same piece of art, even though some of these I wouldn't call art, and say, "Wow, great," or "eh." But
Absolutely.
But anyway. But listen, we so appreciate you being here and being part of the show. I'm Kevin.
I'm Bill.
And we're the Two Guys, and we're live every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook and YouTube. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya.